Your boy Salisbury, and today UFC 317 predictions. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Flying Show MMA because he stole my video idea, word for word, bar for bar, but he at least gave me a shout out and gave recognition for redoing my idea, which I already did, which is I gotta appreciate that as well. Got me some new subscribers and shit. So shout out Flying Skull MMA, and he is black, so I guess he can, and probably has some credentials to do the Black Fighters UFC tier list. And also, fuck you to this guy. He was talking shit in my comments, saying I'm the fail and shit like that, and for some reason the guy really hates me and stuff. So yeah, so if you want to see our argument which we had in the comment section, go to my Charles Oliveira. Well, I think Charles Oliveira will beat Ilia Topuria video, and we had a pretty funny argument in the comments. So yeah, fuck you to whoever this puss is. So first of all, Justin Taffa versus Jonto Deniz. I'm gonna go with Jonto Deniz. The Taffa brothers, they're just like, we don't want to. It's just like every single time a pay-per-view, for some reason we just see a Taffa brother, and it's like they're like fillers for pay-per-views and stuff, and it's like us fans, we don't want to see these brothers fight anymore. There's the Topuria brothers, there's the Diaz brothers, and there's the Taffa brothers. So yeah. So hopefully Jonto Deniz wins, and I think he will win that. Then also there's such little fights on the prelims, quite weird. So I don't know what's happening with this pay-per-view, to be honest. UFC's been an absolute mess this year. Then Tracy Cortez versus Viviana Ruja. I'll go with Tracy Cortez. Then Jack Hermansson versus Gregory Rodriguez. I'm gonna go with Gregory Rodriguez. He looked good in his first fight against Jared Cannonier before he started to slow down and stuff, and that was an absolute gritty performance from Jared Cannonier because he was getting beat up that first round. And I think Rodriguez is gonna be too powerful and too explosive for Jack Hermansson. Jack Hermansson isn't very explosive, and he's lost before and stuff. And I think Gregory Rodriguez, that first round against Jared Cannonier, I was thinking this guy's a dark horse in the middleweight division. And he looked absolutely massive compared to Jared Cannonier, so he's probably going to make Jack Hermansson look small. And I think just on the feet, he's just going to be able to. He's going to be too explosive and powerful for Jack Hermansson to handle. But you never know, Jack Hermansson's a crafty vet. Got a crafty performance against Joe Parker. So yeah. I'll go for Gregory Rodriguez KO. Then Peyton Talbot versus Felipe Lima. This is a new fight which has happened. And I'm going to go for Felipe Lima decision. I think Felipe Lima is probably going to take it to the ground and then dominate those positions and then get a decision. But on the feet, I think it's actually a close fight. Because Peyton Talbot is explosive and is unpredictable on the feet. And is a good athletic striker. So I think on the feet it'll be tit for tat, and both these guys will be landing shots. But I don't want Peyton Talbot to get KO'd or anything, which I'm kind of worried about. But Peyton Talbot taking this fight on short notice hasn't really improved his grappling that much. I don't think so. Maybe he has, but Felipe Lima submitted Muhammad Naimov, who I think is on a 2-fight winning streak now, and is a good grappler. And I think Felipe Lima should take this fight to the ground and dominate on the ground. And Felipe Lima is going to be a problem in the division. Felipe Lima was a featherweight before, and now he's going down to bantamweight. So I don't know. That's quite interesting. Hope it's not too tough of a weight cut. Then Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano. Felipe Lima decision. Beneil Dariush versus Moicano. I'm gonna go with Moicano. They're actually the same age. I was about to call Beneil Dariush the old man's matchup, but they're actually the same age. Jesus Christ, Beneil Dariush just looks like a grandpa, I guess. But yeah, Renato Moicano he lost to Islam, but didn't take any damage, and has had more momentum than Beneil Dariush. But Beneil Dariush does have power though. Has more power than Renato Moicano on the feet, so maybe on the feet it could dominate. Also, Beneil Dariush does have good jiu-jitsu, so I think this fight's gonna be close. I think I'll go for Moicano decision. He might be able to land good shots, ground and pound. I don't know. This is kind of tough fight to predict, and this fight was supposed to happen in the January card, but Beneil Dariush, something happened. Yeah, unfortunately, Arman Tsarukyan pulled out and Beneil Dariush lost his matchup. So yeah, I'm gonna go for an Moicano decision. Then Brandon Royval versus Joshua Van. I'm also gonna go for Joshua Van decision. The thing is, Brandon Royval is 10 centimeters taller. I think Joshua Van learned from the Charles Johnson fight where he did fight the taller fighter, and I think I'm busy. I do think Joshua Van has learned from that performance against Charles Johnson. Is gonna have a game plan to get over the reach, and Brandon Royval also is just like a bit soy, not gonna lie. So Joshua Van doesn't just need to go in there and eat his shots and then eventually close the distance. But I think Joshua Van's improving, and now he's gotten boxing IQ to be able to get over Brandon Royval's reach. And yeah, Joshua Van's performance was absolutely beautiful against Bruno Silva last time, so I think he's improved. That was Joshua Van's best performance in my opinion. So he's probably improving at a massive rate, and I think now against Brandon Royval, I think he's going to be able to put hands on him and get a decision. It might be a close fight, but I think Joshua Van will be able to get those moments in the fight where he can land combinations on Brandon Royval, and Brandon Royval shutting up, and then Joshua Van's going to the body, the head, and just winning the fight through superior combinations. So yeah, I'm going to go with Joshua Van decision. Then Pantoja vs. Kai Kara-France. This one's quite interesting. I think Kai Kara-France has the best base to defend Alexander Pantoja's explosive takedowns because he's short and stocky and is powerful. So yeah, but I think Alexander Pantoja will be able to overwhelm Kai Kara-France over time. Also, Kai Kara-France has a good overhand right, which could land a few times against Pantoja, especially if Pantoja tries to rush in, like he does with that retarded when Pantoja explodes to throw punches. I think it could be an opening there for Kai Kara-France to land overhand right. I think this fight will be closer than Pantoja's other fighters. Even though Pantoja has, I can't speak, Jesus. Even though Pantoja has had close fights before, I think Kai Kara-France's takedown defense will be good enough, and I'll make it a striking match. But I think Pantoja over time will start be able to get those takedowns and stuff and be explosive. And so yeah, I'm gonna go with Pantoja's decision. So the big one, Topuria vs. Charles Oliveira. As you know, I made a video saying that Charles Oliveira is going to win. At the time, I did feel like Charles Oliveira is going to win, but as I'm going closer to the fight, I'm feeling more Ilia. And sometimes your thoughts on the fight can change over time, especially if you get closer to the fight. You start getting a feeling inside your gut, which tells you something's going to happen. And I think Charles Oliveira will get success in this fight, but I think Ilia Topuria, all it takes is one moment for him. For example, against Volk. That fight was close against Volk, but Ilia Topuria was able to slip one jab, and then just being able to slip one jab, that just opened up a finish for him, and I think Ilia Topuria can do the same. It could be a close fight, but if Ilia Topuria slips one jab or slips one good shot, then once Ilia Topuria slipped with a shot of yours, and your back is against the cage, then you can just like end the fight no matter who you are. Now, I do think Charles Oliveira will be getting success in this fight, but I don't know, one thing I see is Charles Oliveira doesn't move his head that much. So Ilia Topuria will be able to. So if Ilia Topuria is able to slip something, Charles Oliveira's head's going to be there for Ilia Topuria to land on. One of the ways I see Ilia Topuria finishing the fight is that I just feel Ilia Topuria can slip a jab and land over and right, and that head of Charles Oliveira is not going to move. And if Ilia Topuria knows where your head is going to be the whole time during the fight, then Ilia Topuria's with accuracy and just like his insane fight IQ, he's able to like hit you, and that's gonna be bad. And I think Ilia Topuria in his trainings, he's been looking good. Obviously, training footage is like training footage, but he has looked good in his training footage. And I think his power will translate to 155. I don't know yet, but at the time I was making my video, I didn't think his power would be able to translate to 155. But so far, I'm picking Ilia Topuria. It might sway to Charles Oliveira. As I'm picking Ilia Topuria, it's going to be a KO. I don't think he'll be able to beat Topuria by decision. I mean, he won't be able to beat Charles by decision. Damn, this is such an interesting fight. But I don't know. Like I said, I think Ilia Topuria's power is going to translate to 155. But I actually don't. I'm not 100% sure yet. I actually haven't even seen Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira face off yet. So yeah, my like thoughts in the fight might sway back to Charles Oliveira if we get closer to it. But so far I'm picking Ilia Topuria. I don't know. Ilia Topuria looks confident as hell for this one, and I also just want Ilia Topuria to win. Ilia Topuria to win is what the UFC needs right now. Ilia Topuria is the closest thing we're ever gonna get to Conor McGregor ever again. So if Ilia Topuria wins and continues winning, then he's gonna be a star. And I feel like Ilia Topuria is in a stage now where he's like early in his career, like early Conor McGregor. Like maybe like this is like he has a popularity of when like Conor McGregor was fighting Chad Mendes. But as Ilia Topuria wins more and more, I think he can nearly reach that star level of Conor McGregor. So yeah.